Now then, this is going to seem really complicated the first time I go through it, probably the second time. You need to watch this a couple of times to get your head around it, but it's incredibly powerful and actually very easy, and generally speaking, you only have to do the work once, and it can make a heck of a difference to you getting lots more subscribers all the time. Now, subscribers are very good because every time you add a new film, your subscribers are told. It's also one of the measures that YouTube can use. If somebody subscribes to your channel, then we all know what we're like about not wanting to sign up for emails and things. If someone subscribes, what you're saying to YouTube is, dear YouTube, every time this person produces a new film, I want to be told about it. And that's a great measure of how powerful, how liked your channel is. So we want more subscribers. And the easiest way to get more subscribers is to ask for more subscribers. And the silly thing is that people don't do that. A couple of ways of doing it, and obviously you can put it in your description. Click here to subscribe. That's taken as read, I hope, at this stage. You've got your description box. You want some links in there. One of them is click here to subscribe to my channel. You've got annotations. Now, what I do with annotations, I don't put on the annotation, click here to subscribe. When you're, in effect, selling something to somebody, it's a two-way thing. You've got to give them a reason to buy, in this case, to subscribe. So I put, see other films like this, see even more films, or depending on your particular niche or niche, you can talk about a little bit, see more films about whatever it is you talk about, whoever use that in annotations. The problem with those is that if somebody clicks on the annotation, that film freezes, a new window opens where they can subscribe or watch other films, and it's a bit of a pain. There isn't a better way of doing it that I can think of, and the great brains at YouTube have never thought of anything better, but it's still a bit of a pain. So here's a great way of doing it, because people want to watch the whole of your film. We want to produce what in filmmaking is known as an end slate. Strange title, but a slate is normally that sort of clapperboard that you see when people make films for cinema and things. They then click and other details on. The end slate is a thing that appears at the end of your film. Now, I would suggest you normally keep these on the screen for about 10 seconds. I'm going to show you how to make one really easily, and then you can add it to each of your films. It takes a few more seconds each time for each film, but it's well worth it because people get to the end of your film, and then what do they see? A call for action, as it's called. They want a request for them to subscribe. So let's assume that I've got this film here, which isn't going to work. Let's just drag that down. I've got a film there on a Japanese tea garden. It's 19 seconds. It's a very short film, but we'll ignore that for the second. What I'm going to do is press the little close button here. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go to this button. I'm in the YouTube editor, incidentally. I hope you all recognise that by now. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on text, and I'm going to use this one, centered title. Now I'm going to drag that before the film. All right. First thing you notice that as standard is 2 seconds, so I'm going to drag that out till it's about 10 seconds. Now you can spot my mistake. It's an end slate, so we actually need to move it to the end. So there it is. It's at the end. So put the end slate at the end is a good place for it. Now then, what do I want to put in here? We want to say see more films. Just notice this will take a few seconds to update because this is working on YouTube's servers. Like this. Click here. This is just example wording that I'm making it easy for you. I would suggest that you use your own wording, so see more films, like the sort of thing that you've seen in films that you've seen or whatever. So relevant to your niche, whatever your niche is, see more films about horses, see more films about children playing or whatever. Now, what you want to do is not to say subscribe, because that's a bit like asking, oh, can I have your email address and so on. Seeing more films like that, what you want to do later is make that a link to your subscribe page on YouTube. That's really easy to do, and we'll deal with that in a second. So you can see here we've got an end slate there. It's not brilliant, and so you want to make a bit of colour. Give that a few seconds for YouTube to catch up there. And very artistic. I'm no artist, trust me, you probably realise that now. But I'm just going to show you the sort of things that you can do, because you can make this once, make it look nice, and it can look really good. Let's just show you, let's make that text a bit bigger. And again, it takes a few seconds. This isn't brilliant, but it gives you an idea of what to do and to play with it. And obviously the important thing is if you've got a very bright, shiny channel and so on, then you can use bright, shiny text fonts, bright, shiny colours, things that are very lively and happy and so on. That one is extremely bright. It's probably going to give me a migraine. Let's just turn that background down a bit. There we go, let's make it a little bit better. So still pretty bad, but you get the idea anyway. So you can make the fonts bold, italic, you can make the fonts different sizes, and you can have fonts like Budmo Jiggish. Jigglish. That's a new one on me, that is. But actually built into here, there's a good selection of fonts. The important thing is to make it really easy to read. So I think this font, yeah, that's not bad actually. But it does depend on what you want to do. If you've got a serious film, then obviously something like Arial is something you're dealing with as a serious matter. Then you can do something like that. Perhaps we'll put a little colon in there. Just make that a little bit better. And you can see it takes a few seconds to render. And that's all ready. And if we just play that, no animation, nothing happens on it, but you've got 10 seconds of film there. Okay. Now what I suggest you do is don't have another film in here. Let me just remove that for a second. We've just got the actual end slate there. What I suggest you do is you save it as end slate so you can find it easily. And that you publish that so you've always got it and you remember the name of it. Saving it as end slate, even all one word, might even be easier. Okay. Then when you next upload a film or you next use the video editor or however you do it, don't publish that film, publish it as private. Then you can go to your editor, you can find the film in here or in Creative Commons or wherever you're going. So you can then add that film and the end slate together. Does that make sense? So save the film just as end slate, and then every time you upload a film thereafter, end slate is saved up here for you. You've not published it, but you can drag it to the end of your film, and that's a nice easy way of adding end slates. So you've got your film. Let's suppose that's the film that I did. Let's go back to that one again. You've then got a complete film there ready. You can play the whole thing. I think that's going to play, so stop that before it starts playing music. Oops. Very low quality on this preview. Now then, how do you get people to actually then subscribe? Well, very easy. What we said about annotations, one of the annotations is a great big box. So when you've sent your film, you've published it to your site, you can then go to your annotations, add your calls to action in the top in your normal video editor when you're editing the film, so adding annotations. But for the bit at the end, you can draw a big box. Let's just move the camera to that. I'll just pause that. So you draw one of those big boxes around that, and you make that a subscription link. I did say at the beginning of this several minutes ago, it's quite complicated to follow. It's an easy thing to do, but it's an impossible thing to describe. And I spent the last hour or so doing various rehearsals of this, trying to work out the best way of explaining it. And what I've just done there is the best that I could do. But at its simplest, make an end slate, save it, and then as you make future films, you go into the video editor, you go and find your film or your Creative Commons or your own film, you drag that in, you'll then search for your end slate, and here's, if I go in here, I think I did one earlier, in fact it's there's one that I've done. I can then drop that in, and if we just play that, give it a second, this is going to be a very bad example. Click here now to see more. Again, a little bit more appealing that, but it's very, very easy to do, to see more of your particular niche or whatever. So the secret is not to say click here to subscribe, because, well, what's in it for me? Why should I subscribe if you enjoyed your film? But if you say click here to see more films about, or more films that show this, or more exciting films, a little bit about your niche and things, people are interested. They've actually got to the end of your film. They're obviously interested in it. They want to see more. This is a great way to get them to do it. And by making the annotation a subscribe link, so they have to subscribe, that adds more people to your subscriptions. YouTube likes that because obviously it's showing that more people are subscribing, therefore your films must be liked. And also every time you make a film, YouTube sends a message out to all those people who subscribed and say, hey, there's a new film out, it's called this, and so on. All right, right, easy way to do end slates. Sorry it took so complicated to explain, but it's actually much easier to do. Just have a mess with some of the colours and things that you can do. You can mess with even the filters and things. You can do all sorts of things there and just make it look really quite weird. I think when that comes up, that's not going to work very well, but you can do all sorts of effects and things. But generally, get some text that fits the sort of style that you do, font that you do, and so on. You can make quite a nice film. That's end slates, really easy to do.